Welcome to the Venturesome channel. I'm your host Nick Metzger. And today I'm going to show you how to make epic lens flares in Photoshop. First, import your image into Photoshop. Then duplicate the layer, go to Filter, Render and Lens Flare. Then choose the type and size of the lens flare and position it in your image. It looks the best and the most realistic when you position a lens flare directly over a light source, like a lamp or the sun. Because guess what? Real lens flares are created by pointing a camera directly to a light source. Like this lamp, for example, which is in the way. When you have positioned your lens flare, undo the last step by pressing Command C on a Mac or Control C on Windows. Next, take the rectangle tool and make a black rectangle on a new layer. This is very important because we want the lens flare to be adjustable, like for example when you want to make it blue. Then go back to Filter and choose the option Lens Flare on the very top. Over there you will always find the latest effect you applied. Hence, in our case, it's the lens flare we just created before. Now you have your lens flare on an independent layer. You can do with it whatever you want and adjust it to your taste. You may think now, why don't you just put the lens flare on a new layer? Well, the problem is that Photoshop actually thinks that no one is going to use this function, so we simply can't. Personally, I like my lens flares to be a bit blurry. To do so, I go to Filter, Blur and choose Gaussian Blur. And then, if you are happy with your flare, go over to the blending modes on the right and choose Screen from the drop-down menu. You now have your independent lens flare on your image. And if you want, you can repeat this process as many times as you like. And finally, to make the lens flare look more natural and make your subject stand out, add a layer of brightness and contrast. Then choose the brush tool and put the softness to 0%. Make sure to have the brush tool big enough. Then go over to Properties and adjust the brightness contrast layer to your taste. If it fits your taste, press Command I or Control and I to invert the layer. When you now change the brush color to white, you can literally draw the brightness contrast layer on top of your image. You want to point the light directly to your subject, because this makes it stand out and the lens flares will look even cooler. If you have finished and think that the effect is too strong, you can always reduce the opacity of the layer. And in the end, if you put the brightness contrast layer on top of the lens flares, they will be affected as well, and I think that looks pretty neat. That's it for today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and we'll make some pretty epic lens flare pictures. Yeah, that's it. Bye! Whoop.